Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all done this trip from whom well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit, and I'm entitled this one: there will be slavery in the kingdom of heaven. There will be slavery in the kingdom of heaven, because what is a kingdom without subjects, like it says in the scriptures? Because here, Esau, Edom, which is the self-proclaimed white man that's ruling this current kingdom, this Edomite kingdom, he wants to do away with his subjects. He wants to do away with his slaves. So what is a kingdom without slaves? Ultimately, it's nothing, because if you don't have somebody that upkeeps and maintains the kingdom, just like Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man has the tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in hardcore slavery. Here you got the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They have all these different jobs in the blue collar, trucking industry, making pretty much this whole country run, the blood force, the bloodline. Then you have the northern kingdom, Issachar, the so-called Mexicans, and the rest of the northern kingdom, that's into the construction and the blue collar as well. So here, how America was founded, it was founded by the backs of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, by getting them to give free labor without pay for hundreds of years. But now that our people have been given a paycheck and a 401k, a credit card, and our people think that, oh man, we good. The white man, he loves us now. He's changed. But here he's about to come down with that great wrath and bring in that great reset. Ultimately, so he can have complete dominion of all the people upon the planet Earth. But we know that he's not going to be successful, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to rain that great wrath upon him, and ultimately he's going to go into captivity, into slavery. This is why they're trying so hard to offset prophecy, so they could escape slavery, but they're not. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10, and it reads, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So just like he put the pure holy hell upon apple of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's eye, which are the chosen people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, just like he put that hell upon the southern kingdom, upon the northern kingdom. He tried to commit genocide on the Native American Indians. That's going to be a double recompense for Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, because he has to get rewarded for what he did to the children of Israel, to the children of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So he's not going to escape. He's not going to escape his judgment. That's why he's trying so hard to offset prophecy and offer a left-handed sacrifice, just like Cain. But just like Cain's sacrifice was rejected, Esau, Edom's sacrifice is going to be rejected as well. It says, "He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." So just like he's still putting bullets upon our people's backs, even though they may be wicked, like it says, whoever perished being innocent, still don't give the right to this devil to just wild the F out. That's why Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is about to bring this devil down and put him into captivity, put him into slavery. This is Isaiah 14 and verse 1. It says, "For the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." And this is what is right around the corner, is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai taking his woman back, Israel, Jerusalem, starting with the elect, the 144,000. And it says the strangers, that's going into the Israelite foreigners, because the nation of Israel has been scattered among all heathen nations. So you're going to have Israelites that look like all these heathen nations, so-called white, so-called Chinese, so-called Arabs, so on and so forth. But ultimately, if they get delivered, into the chariot, and it may look like a Chinese man, a Chinese woman, a so-called white man, that's an Israelite, because it all goes back to the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who the kingdom of heaven was promised for, which is ultimately having subjects, slaves. Because how else is it going to get built up? How did America, Babylon the Great, get built up? It got built up through slavery. And how is it being maintained? By another form of slavery. Even though, people think that, oh man, we're free now, we have a job, we can go on vacation, it's still the same thing. You're still subject to payments, like it says in the book of Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. That's why we want to get the hell up out of here, because we're in hell, we're in captivity. It says verse 2, and a people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives. There you go. Whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And who is the number one oppressor of the Israelites? Is the self-proclaimed white man, Esau, Edom. That's why he's going to receive it the worst. That's why he's not going to receive any mercy. Like when you go into the dictionary, the Bible dictionary pretty much says the definition for Esau, Edom, is the only nation in the Bible that's not going to receive any mercy. Why are they not going to receive any mercy? Because Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah already predestined it. And you can read that in the book of Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18. There's not going to be any left for the house of Esau. But the rest of the heathen nations will be allowed to go to their allotted lands and be pay tribute, just like we got to pay taxes to this devil. It's going to be the same thing, but it's not going to be like this devil just constantly taxing everybody to death, trying to squeeze every single penny out of everybody, trying to take over people's resources. No, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah is going to put the earth back in order through the laws, statutes, commandments. First and foremost, with the elect, the 144,000, first and foremost, Yahweh Shai, they're going to put the earth back in order. And even these heathens are going to appreciate the nation of Israel being in power. Because right now, the only ones who truly benefit is the elites, the Amalekites, the small hats, the tiny caps, those you can't speak against. It says, verse 3, Isaiah 14 and verse 3, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, being subject to alarm clocks, being subject to having to commute, in traffic for hours just to get there. And then boom, more hours on the way back. And constantly taxed to death. You pay off all your debt to the IRS, and then boom, here they hit you with a hidden bill. They made up some BS, and now you got to pay it off, or they're gonna take your possessions away. Because we're in captivity, we're in slavery, because we sinned against Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. But it's not going to be forever, because our captivity is almost up, and the curses are slowly being put upon Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, and the rest of these heathen nations. And it's only the beginning. It's not going to get better for Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. It's only going to get worse from here. And even these heathens, they're going to go into slavery. This is as good as it gets for them. But eventually, even the heathens will be allowed to go back to the land. But for Esau, Edom, Esau's going to be out of there. This is Psalms chapter 2 and verse 1. And it reads, why do the heathen and the people imagine a vain thing, claiming that, we're going to be like the Most High, we're going to be the new God. God is dead. We just got to find a body and bury it. These proud ass Edomites speaking proudly against Yahweh Bashim El Shai, talking about we're going to merge man with robot. We're going to gain immortality through the left hand. It's all vanity. It says, verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, Yahweh Bashim El Shai, and against his anointed, the elect, the remnant, saying, verse 3, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to offset prophecy. They think that they're offsetting prophecy and they're going to get away from what's written in prophecy in the scriptures, because these elites, they know the scriptures, they know the prophecies. They watch our apostles, elders, bishops, brothers, and they're scared. That's why really Esau is scared. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, they're scared to what their end is, slavery. It says, verse 4, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Now, how about Shmuel Shai is laughing at these devil's plans? He's putting that spirit of delusion upon them. It says, verse 5, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. And this is what's about to happen to Esau Edom, and it's happening now. With Trump, trying to get one up on Iran, but it's not working. It says, verse 6, yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Verse 7, I will declare the decree. The Lord, Yahweh Bashim El Shai, has said unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. That's Yahweh Shai. That's who's going to take Esau Edom down. That's who's going to bring this devil down, put all these damn heathens in captivity and slavery, and eventually put Esau Edom out of his misery after he serves that 1,000 long hardcore year slavery. It says, verse 8, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, in the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So this is reserved strictly for the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, 144,000 and 1/3, the innumerable number, and even the 2/3. When they come back to the loins of the elect, they're going to be ruling over these heathens as well. Kicking their butt for all the atrocities that they've done to the tribes. They got to pay for it. They're not going to get scot-free. Even these heathens, these Amalekites, these elites, they're going to go into these bunkers in the middle of nowhere, Switzerland, Sweden. Yahweh Bashim El Shai and his elect are going to pull them out of those bunkers, and they're going to be the first fruits of slavery. That's what's reserved for, first and foremost, Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, and the rest of these heathen nations. Is captivity, is slavery. This is as good as it gets for these heathens. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learn this truth from whom to rule well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom.